would say overall, it's a little messed up. I wouldn't call it durable, being that that was the crunch setting. It's just a terrible brand. It's an F tier. Hola, mi amigos. Bienvenido. Yeah, one thing we never cover on this channel is gear. I've never really been a big gear guy. I'm more concerned about, like actually, knowing how to play the guitar good. By the way, all the white brand logos, that refers to the guitars that they make, okay? Just the guitars. Now let's actually put some time in on line 6 here. Now everyone that you meet says line 6 is one of the worst gear companies there is. And that's because that's totally true. They definitely do a good job at making gear for a newer player, you could say, because it's easy to use. It's always very easy to use and easy to figure out. But line 6 doesn't just make amplifiers. Let's remember that. They make other garbage products, except for this thing. This thing's pretty cool. It's an older model Helix. As you can see, it's had some use. This thing actually, it works well. I will say that. I'm going to leave line 6 in F tier, though, because I passionately dislike the company. Okay, here's the deal with Paul Reed Smith, okay? PRS. I could put PRS here in A tier and say, like, one little thing, like, oh, the frets are a little bit meh. I could say one thing. And then the PRS enthusiast would find my house and murder me. The people, it's like 21 Pilots fans. It's like they're a cult. Get Gretsch in here too. Now Gretsch doesn't have that kind of fan base at all, but the thing is, they make these very similar. They're kind of like the Porsche and the Bentley of the guitar world. That has nothing to do with price really. However, they're just really elegant, very fine-tuned, kind of slick, classy guitars, They're like the kind of classy man, esque. I don't know. I'm gonna be as light as I can be with your lovely guitars, Tyler. They're very good sounding guitars. They play very nice. I really have nothing against PRS, but they're not S tier. They're not that high. They're not that crazy. I'm not getting that crazy yet. Peavey Amps. You can't even tell that's a Peavey, can you? You see that Peavey amp right here? This was given to me. I've played it one time. It is an acoustic amp. And, I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't know to take Peavey off, I don't know anything about Peavey. Everything on this list I have to have at least a little bit of experience with. These Fender amps, very iconic. You know it's a Fender amp just by looking at it. I have a lot of experience with Fender amps, especially the twin reverb. A lot of you know that I used to play in the School of Rock house band. It sounds like some BS kid stuff, but it's not. I mean, we literally toured the country a few times, and what did I use in Salt Lake City? What amp did I use in Boston? What amp did I use in every American city that we went to? It was a Fender Twin Reverb. That's right. Maybe it was a DeVille. It might have been a DeVille. Whatever. It's a Fender amp. Here's my issue with these amps. Look at how ugly it is. It is the ugliest amp on the market. They look like a radiator. They've always been that ugly. Look at this. It looks like I just pulled it out of the front of a Volkswagen. It's a great sounding amp, but it is so ugly, I'm going to throw it in B tier. I have a lot of guitar companies on here, and a lot of people don't even consider guitars gear. That's a nice segue into Fender Guitars. I got a lot to say about Fender Guitars. I just got it right here, just ready to go. What other guitar company has made a line of guitars that is more iconic than the Stratocaster, the Telecaster, the Mustang, the Jaguar, the Jazzmaster? There is no other guitar like each of those guitars. Like, a Stratocaster sounds like a Stratocaster. There's not another Fender guitar or any other guitar that sounds like a Stratocaster. And that same thing goes for a Telecaster. Same thing goes for a Mustang. In my book, Fender's in A tier. They've got a few flaws that won't put them into S, such as their custom shop guitars. Will you pay about the price of a Honda Civic for a guitar that's not as good as a guitar that's worth a Honda Civic? And then it arrives about 6 to 7 months after you make it. Hall of Fame Reverb it's one of the best reverb pedals on the market for sure. It's kind of like you've got a whole reverb plug-in, like digital plug-in, but it's in a pedal. And there's other pedals like this that are this versatile. I'm going to put it in B. There are definitely better reverb pedals. That's just the one I like, but that's just my preference. I know it's not everyone's favorite. It's a good pedal, though. It's a good pedal. If you're looking for a nice reverb pedal, Speaking of pedals, let's get these wah-wahs out of the way. Both of these wah-wahs. I'm not a big wah-wah guy, but the reason I put two different wah-wahs on here is I wanted to get a good point across with you guys. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people see Kirk Hammett use the Cry Baby Wah, and they just go get a Cry Baby Wah. Now, this is my opinion, my personal opinion. The Vox Wah is much better. It's like light years better than the Cry Baby. It's much cleaner. You can hear the notes a lot more. It's got a different sound, like a sound you didn't think a wah could make. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my Vox Wah because at one of the last gigs I played in like February, I left it there. It's somewhere in Smith's old bar in Atlanta. Cry Baby gets a C. Vox Wah gets a B. It's just because I'm not a big wah guy. Where does Dean Guitars go? If you play a Dean, and you're sitting at home kind of snuggling up with your Dean right now because you love it, you're attached to it, I'm sorry. They're not F, but they're not good guitars either. The Dimebag versions were pretty cool. That's another reason it's not an F, because those ones actually worked. Deans are made like garbage, though. There's pretty much no time put into making them. They almost feel like a Walmart guitar, in my opinion. It's basically made out of styrofoam. It feels like there's no passion put into the product. And that's why it feels like a Walmart guitar. This right here just refers to Boss pedals. In my personal opinion, Boss makes some good pedals and they make some garbage pedals. I think we all know this little guy. It's a C for me. It's a C. Not too good, not too bad. I just think, nah. Gretsch guitars. They're not very versatile. I will say that. You can put some P90s in them. They're like for jazz and maybe some funk or something. Very light stuff. That's what Gretsch is for. Not a versatile guitar. So yeah, Gretsch is in B. Oh, I meant to put Taylor Guitars on here so I have an acoustic brand. Taylor Guitars, I don't even know where I would rank them because it's basically just a social status thing. It's like, yeah, I have a Taylor. Would you like to make babies with me? Like, yeah, your dad paid $3,000 for an acoustic guitar so you can go play at the pub. Marshall Amps. I mean, Marshall Amps are a B tier. It's just, there's nothing, it's just a basic guitar amp. Like, oh, a lot of you just got really mad, didn't you? Because I said that. Look, Marshall is cool. It's just like the one that you go to if you're a new guitarist in Guitar Center. It's like, that one looks cool. I've seen that amp in movies. Oh, I don't know how to use it. Why is it not working? To me, it's just like, yeah, it's a guitar amp. I don't know if you would consider strings gear, but now you see that right there? If you had not seen this tier list before, if you've been a guitarist for more than 3 months, you would know that right there is a package of Ernie Ball Super Slinkies. And that's what makes Ernie Ball so symbolic. And I've used other strings. Ernie Ball is superior. This is another very controversial topic. I've seen it in Instagram comments. Some people are very attached to their strings for some reason, which I think is kind of stupid. They're just strings. They're going to wear out at some point. They might break. However, if they're an Ernie Ball, they're not going to break. I have no issues with Ernie Ball. I don't use Super Slinkies, though. I use the Primo Slinkies and the Hybrid Slinkies because I'm edgy. I'm going to do it. I think Ernie Ball is our first S tier. Let's talk about BlackStar Amps. I think I'm going to throw it in A tier. And the reason is, let me tell you something about BlackStar. Obviously, you hear a lot of people talking about tubes versus digital. Tubes versus digital, which is better? And you'll hear a lot of boomers wanting the tube amps, which is, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. It's never been a thing that I care about. Here's the thing about BlackStar, though. You can get a digital BlackStar amp, like mine, and somehow they have crafted it to sound like there's tubes in there. I don't know how, but they've done it. Now, Jackson in the 80s was one of the best guitar companies ever. They made some of the slickest, nicest guitars. Def Leppard played them. All of these hair bands played them. Kirk Hammett had some. Randy Rhoads. They were the Shredder's guitar. Jackson in 2010 to 2020, no one plays guitar anymore, so why don't we just make them like garbage and then just sell them for the same price that we used to? I don't know what happened. They're a little bit better than Dean. They feel a little bit better. Another thing about Jackson, and this is just something I've heard, I've never experienced this, the quality control and just customer service over at Jackson, it's like it's non-existent. I'm going to throw it in D tier. Jackson also has some cool-ass designs for their guitars. They really do put in some time on that. I should have mentioned that. I don't know if you guys are cultured enough to know about the Tube Screamer. Why are you not... What? Now, it looks like it's just a drive setting, right? Looks like it's just you turn it up. Oh, more gain. Oh, metal. Oh. You put it all the way down, you've got a little boosting, kind of like a compressor type thing, and it's really cool for clean stuff. Gives you kind of like another brick in the wall solo type vibe. Turn it up a little bit, you do got a nice crunch setting. You can turn it up all the way and it doesn't sound too overdriven. It might sound a little bit fuzzy, but right here you can even get like a metal chugging. I love the Tube Screamer, and I do think it is a genuine masterpiece in guitar technology. That is why the Ibanez Tube Screamer gets an S tier. What do you think of when you think of ESP? For some reason, every time I look at that logo, I think of Metallica. ESP and LTD, they make great metal guitars. They go a little bit overboard on some of their designs. You can say that about a lot of guitar companies, though. You can definitely say that about Fender. I didn't put that in there. Fender just experiments too much. Even though I don't normally play an ESP, I'm going to throw it in A tier. I think it's a good guitar. I don't have an issue with it. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, ESP does have a lot of problems with their quality. Some stuff tends to break. And for the fact that their name is Electric Sound Products, and they kind of trick you by making it a cool acronym. Something about playing an SG or a Les Paul, it's just badass. It feels like you're driving a Mustang or you're riding a Harley Davidson. It feels American. And I'm not the type of guy to be like, it's America, it's badass. I'm not that type of guy. However, I do get that vibe whenever I play a Les Paul or an SG. Another vibe I get when I play a Les Paul or an SG. This thing is heavy. This thing is bulky. I don't like this thing at all. I'm going to get hate for saying this. I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this. Say you go to Guitar Center and you buy an $800 Les Paul. That's a pretty cheap Les Paul. That's one of their cheapest ones, probably. Say you buy a $4,000 Les Paul. $4,500, let's say $4,500. They sound the exact same. They're pretty much the same guitar. That's the issue with Gibson. The Gibson Explorer is my favorite guitar design of all time, because usually when you make a design like that like looks cool, it doesn't play well and it doesn't feel well. They really pulled it off with the Explorer. I'll say that. There are other designs that aren't the Les Paul, the SG, or the Explorer. They all suck. You ever played a Firebird? You ever played that? Why would they even keep selling that? You can't argue with the fact that they're cool, though. They're very cool looking guitars, very slick. You guys are going to hate me, but Gibson's going in C tier. I'm not going to go into all the controversies about Gibson's company. This is about the guitars only. Ibanez Guitars. I'm not supposed to be too biased in this, but from a design standpoint, Ibanez has everyone in a chokehold. They can make the most exotic, most beautiful looking guitars. However, Ibanez gets even lower than a Fender. I'm going to put Ibanez in B tier. Here's the reason. Ibanez's bridges are ass. These bridges have never been good. That's the reason that if I ever get that damn Ibanez signature model that you guys are waiting for, I'll be sure to just not even use an Ibanez bridge. I don't think that's how it works. Okay, we're gonna get into it. I saved this one for last for a reason. This is my opinion. Let's keep that in mind. It's my opinion. I think Orange Crush guitar amps are the best guitar amps that have ever been engineered and designed. Everything about these guitar amps is pristine. It's kind of like the Tube Screamer in the sense that it's so easy to use. However, you can do so much with it. They always have just such a good tone. They're always reliable. It's rare that they kind of break on you. This isn't like propaganda to get. I'm not sponsored by Orange Amps. No, I'm gonna choose favorites. My favorite guitar company is Fender. By the way, I put PRS there because I didn't want to get mugged. PRS is in B tier. That is the list. I know a lot of you guys disagree heavily with me right now. A few of you might have even clicked the unsubscribe button. I don't care at all. I don't. I'm an extremely unbiased person. I'm very open-minded to anything. If you came up to me and told me I'm getting the best tone ever out of a line 6, I'd be like, let me hear it. I want to know. I mean, maybe you are. You probably are. That's the way my mind works. I just had to get a little bit skeptical in this field tonight. Dean guitars are still trash. Stay tuned. You're gonna go far, kid.